should probably start off by apologising to anyone that's upset about the fact they're paid to see stand-up comedy. And it was Nick Page that did this to me. I've not been very well recently, so I had to get a doctor's the other day. And the doctor said, okay, while you're here, I want to do an asthma review. Presumably to check I still had it, I don't know. But are there any asthmatics in? About 3, and the rest of you are just smokers. Hooray! Well, for those of you that aren't asthmatic, the way they measure asthma is they make it blow into this, well, it's kind of like a toilet roll, about the same size as this microphone. And it's got numbers on it that gauge how good you are at breathing. So I did the thing, and my doctor inputted the numbers into our computer. And she informed me that I'm better at blowing than her computer thinks I should be. Which is ironic, because I'm gay. Gay, disabled. I regularly get told to shame I'm not black. But this is absolutely true. All my family live around here. They all live in Clacton. And so I have Essex heritage. And I was on a date with someone once, and she said to me, Alexa, this is absolutely true, I didn't know there was such a thing as a gay Essex girl. Of course there is. It's just rather than our knickers, we use our dungarees to keep our ankles warm. The stereotypes. I live in London now, and I've driven up here this evening for this gig. And I've been doing quite a lot of driving up and down the country over the last year to various gigs in various places. And I have to say that my favourite road at the moment is the M1. Now, the reason that the M1 is my favourite road is because on the bridges over the M1, there is the most amazing graffiti I have ever seen in my life. On the bridges over the M1, there is posh graffiti. Which is something I didn't realise could exist. It's things like, new hunt ban! And freedom for fox hunting. I was just driving up there one day thinking, how the fuck did that get there? I mean, you can't really picture it, can you? You know, someone, obviously, with the barber jacket, being winched over the bridge. Just a little bit lower, Barbara. I can't quite reach. It's just kind of beyond the realm of imagination. Actually, I was driving up there a couple of months ago on my way to a wedding, and I noticed someone has written in retaliation, shoot a hunter, which I thought was fucking fantastic. But my very, very favourite bit of graffiti on the bridge over the M1, and this is absolutely true, it's on the northbound carriageway, just north of Northampton. Someone has written on a bridge over the M1, Jesus saves. They got the J back to front. You'd think Jesus could save them from looking like such a twat, wouldn't you? Back to front J looks kind of like an L. Lisa saves. Lisa saves. I could be a superhero. Well, don't worry, I'm not going to put on a micro. But this really nicely ties in with this little fantasy that I have. You know Buffy the Vampire Slayer? There's a couple of bros, most of you just, oh, that's so last year. You know, it's all Serenity and Firefly now. I have this really nice little fantasy. I really want to make a spin-off of that about a disabled vampire slayer. Now, half of you are probably thinking, oh god, she can never do all the high kicks and shit. And the rest of you are just thinking, oh, that's political correctness gone mad. But if you think about it, one of the only ways you're supposed to be able to kill a vampire is with a wooden stake through the heart. So can you imagine a more perfect accessory to have with you all the time than a wooden walking stick? Slightly sharpen it at the end. Actually, that got a pretty good laugh. Usually that goes down about as well as My Last Girlfriend. And I can't really believe I said that because my parents are sitting over there. Mum and Dad, shout out if you're not going to reclaim the Christmas present that you've already got. Oh shit, they're not talking to me anymore. On the subject of TV, you know, summer's long gone, we're into November, it's fucking freezing outside. So, you know, Big Brother is way in the past for another year. Are there any Big Brother fans here in Colchester? Do you all really hate Big Brother here in Colchester? Yes. Okay, well, me too. I don't watch it, but I will admit that I do, when a new series starts, I will watch just for the first, you know, in the beginning for a couple of hours. Because I do get quite intrigued by who they put in the house in the first place. Because as, you know, so far it's run this country for 6 years, and as yet they've not had a single disabled housemate, which leaves me slightly baffled. Because, you know, me going in my front door will attract an actual crowd. about the same size as this. And I'm just always so entertained by the people that get so engrossed in watching how the lady in the wheelchair crosses the road that they forget to look right and left before they step out in front of traffic themselves. The accidents I've caused. But, you know, seriously, I mean, it would be a real fucking ratings winner, because you do, don't you? You love a good Volvo cripple, right? I can be the first disabled person on Big Bus today. It's got nothing to do with the fear of being shut in a, you know, enclosed space with some slightly scary, psychotic people. No, you should meet my last flatmate. The reason I can do is the name of the production company, Endemol, which I think at best sounds like something that should be prescribed for tonsillitis. I think it sounds more like some kind of surgical procedure. And when I hear it, I just think, you know, I just have this vision of Hattie Jade standing over me, clutching with daffodils. Roll over, Lisa dear. It's time for your Endemol. It's just not inviting at all. Sorry, excuse me. Actually, just looking at my comedy cheat sheet on my hands, I had to go to the hospital recently to be fitted for a splint because my arm and wrist is quite fucked. And while I'm obviously not wearing it now because I wouldn't be able to see the little list of things I'm planning on saying, but like while I was there, where they fit splints is in the basement in my local hospital, so I had to go down in the lift. And while I was waiting for the lift, I noticed there was a sign on the wall saying "Community Gynecology this way." What the fuck kind of community is that? You know, I just had these visions of these coffee mornings in Hampstead with, you know, people, you know, without underwear. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Ew. Don't really want that to be a community event. Those of you at the front can probably, I'll start off by explaining. Being disabled, people think that gives them a license to come up to me and say fucking random shit. Like, a couple of years ago I was clubbing and someone came up to me and said, "I think you're so brave and wonderful for going clubbing even though you're in a wheelchair." Because of course, you know, it takes real bravery to want to get drunk and stick your tongue down someone else's throat. And also, not long ago, I was getting on a bus on my way to work, and you know, I don't know what it's like around here, but in London now, most buses have ramps on them, so nice, seamless entry. But this woman watched really intently, like I said, people love to walk. This woman watched me really intently the whole time I was going through the getting on the bus process. And when I finally pulled into the designated cripple enclosure, you know, it's marked in yellow, like a mini version of the special bus. When I pulled in there, she said to me, what was it? Oh, fuck, I forgot what she said. Bollocks.
Go for it, Kate.
Oh dear. Fuck it couldn't have been that interesting. Just, you know, insert your own mental joke. Think about the kind of thing that, you know, I don't know, some woman who rides around on your local bus might say, I don't know. But it's not just non-disabled people that think they have a right to come up to me just because I'm disabled to say fucking weird shit. Disabled people do it too. And those of you at the front can probably see this. Those of you further back are just going to have to take the word of the people at the front. My wheelchair is quite an unfortunate brand name. My wheelchair is called a Quickie. You see that? And it's not about my last one had emblazoned across the back. I had to spend my entire teenage years explaining that I had it put there, but they forgot the question mark. But, you know, like, you know, I'll be waiting for a bus or something, and someone disabled will come up to me, and, you know, the Quickie is quite a well-known brand name for a wheelchair. And so, you know, someone will come up to me and say, you know, "Oh, is that a Quickie?" At least I think that's what they're saying. Because in addition to, and completely unrelated to my mobility impairment, I have something called auditory processing disorder, which is kind of like sound dyslexia, so sometimes words get a bit jumbled. And, yeah, so, you know, is that a Quickie? I don't think I'm always getting it right. Would explain why some people get slightly shocked when I say yes. Something else I've noticed while doing a lot of driving is, you know, you get those terrible yellow stickers in the rear windows of cars that say things like "baby on board," like it's going to make you reconsider. But I saw one not long ago, and it said, "The dogs on board this vehicle have been tattooed for identity purposes." And you know, I'm vegetarian, I'm every stereotype. I'm vegetarian, I'm quite animal rightsy. And, you know, so I thought, oh, that's lovely, you know, if the dog runs off, you can just shave it and find out where it is. But then I got to thinking. I remember reading an article about a guy who got prosecuted for animal cruelty for piercing his cat's ear. Ear pussy piercings can be quite fun, I wouldn't know. But, so I was thinking about this, and as you can tell from my face, I quite like piercings. But I haven't got any tattoos because I think, if I get sick of having a bit of metal in my bottom lip, I can just take it out. But a tattoo is much more permanent. And it's got me wondering, did anyone explain to the dog that a tattoo is for life and not just for Christmas? Lloyd was talking quite a lot about Jesus before. And this is going to sound really random, but I do get mistaken for Jesus quite a lot. Like not long ago, I was pushing through Soho in London already. Well, I don't live in Soho, I'm not a dirty whore. And that's not why I was in Soho, I was on my way to a gig, honestly. But I was pushing through Soho, and this woman was walking along the pavement in front of me. And she looked over her shoulder, and she realised that she was being followed down the road by someone in a wheelchair. This prompted her to leap into the street with a cry of, "God!" Because London taxi drivers are apparently less threatening than me. And, I'll be pushing down Oxford Street, and, they don't care if they push their girlfriend through a glass window, just as long as they're not in my path, It's always accompanied with cries of, "Jesus Christ!" I can see where they get confused, clearly. Resentment is uncanny. I'm perhaps less likely to wear a dress. Looking on water? You have trouble on land, really. I'm going to leave you tonight with, as you can see, I've recently been to Specsavers. And it was a day of mixed emotions. On one hand, it was a really joyous experience, because, I personally think glasses are really, really sexy. And I am not. And as Tesco say, every little helps. But it was also really traumatic because, the optician informed me that I have not one, but two visual defects that require correction by glasses. Firstly, I have something called hyperopia, which is a fucking fantastic word. It means it's a fancy word for long-sighted. But I got hung up on the hyper part of the word, and I got really confused as to why she was giving me glasses and not Ritalin eye drops. And the other visual defect that I have is called astigmatism. Now, I'd never heard of this before that day, and so when she told me, my reaction was, "Oh God,